Hey guys, welcome back to another redstone video. Today I got a really compact 4-way flying machine for you guys. As you might know, I'm German, so that means I like beer, usually quite direct, and always on time. But do you know what's for me actually the most German thing? So over the years I've noticed that people love to complain in Germany. They really take pleasure in it for some reason. And always, what they also like to complain the most is if somebody has a bit of a dialect. So usually like 99% of the comments that accuse me of having a terrible English or an awful dialect are the Germans. It's really funny. They also have a weird relation with their own language. So they're really proud usually if somebody says or notices that there's a German word for something, which is not in another language. I'm really proud of that always. And also what I noticed on Reddit is that they like to state if there's a German saying for something. And yeah, one here is appropriate. So we got a German saying. It is Not macht erfinderisch, which roughly translates to, necessity is the mother of invention. And that fits perfectly here because I had a 4-way flying machine on my to-do list for, I don't know, over 3 years probably, but I never came around to do it. Now that I actually needed it for an upcoming project, I finally had some time and came up with a really nice 4-way flying machine. The flying machine that I needed had to be very low on the amount of push blocks, so be well below the push limit so I can attach extra things to it. And that's in the end the machine I came up with. We can start it here. It's also really cool. It actually also changes direction automatically in 2 of the 4 directions. And for the other 2 we need just some really small stations to reverse the direction. So here we use a piston, push it in that direction, and this corner it also would then fly towards the starting position again. So this works because of the update order. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for all 4 sides, which would be epic, but that doesn't seem to be doable. Right, so on this machine, I could actually attach 4 blocks here on this slime block structure. And on the longer one here, I could attach 3. So not really with this station setup I got here, because we actually pushed the whole flying machine with it. But it could actually make a custom station that reverses direction. But it kind of depends where you actually put the slime blocks and so on. But technically it's also possible to make a station for the machine where you attach 3 extra blocks here or 4 extra blocks on that side. So you could attach that much to it and the machine would still be functional. Not in combination with those return machines, but I could make a custom one, which unfortunately is kind of a bit complicated and also really depends where you attach those blocks, but in general it's possible. By using a cauldron, you can also ride the flying machine pretty easily. You can stand in it, and you got a little test setup where we change direction multiple times. Of course, flying machine travel is not really the fastest way of travel. This flying machine travels at 2 blocks per second. Definitely faster ways to travel, like a piston bolt. But this could be a nice alternative for certain projects, like maybe a nice entrance to a cave or whatever I get with a flying machine. Could maybe also use it to transport villagers or whatever, in case you prevent them from climbing out by putting blocks above. Yeah, who knows what I can do with this flying machine. I'm actually planning to use this for the Skyblock world. I was working on a kind of tractor that would harvest crops and also place seeds. So that's one of my upcoming projects in my Skyblock world. One little downside of using a cauldron is that it's not 100% reliable, because there's a certain chance that the player glitches out, the server is a bit laggy. You could also put the player in a minecart, which is 100% reliable, because the minecart is calculated server side. So you would need to attach 3 blocks to it. We could add some here. So we need a slime block and then 3 cobble walls. Then you could put a mic on top of that. Since it's restricted in all directions, it can't fall out. But this wouldn't work with those stations here in particular, because as I mentioned earlier, we can't really push it anymore, so you would need to activate this piston directly by updating the subserver instead. But it's probably possible to make stations for that as well. So here we also now have the 100% reliable version of the minecart setup. Just quickly put some stations together that work with that setup. And here's how you can build your own 4-way flying machine with simple return stations. so the one who can, yeah, for example, fly in the cauldron. Alright. So the machine definitely works with the update order and is a bit directional. I'm gonna show you an easy direction. I noticed that if you build the piston configuration facing a different way, then return stations get a bit more difficult. But the easiest is if you go to the northeast corner and start here. So I'm gonna add 3 slime blocks, and then we're gonna add sticky pistons pointing into it. So like that. And here we're gonna add sticky pistons pointing that way. Okay, so next we can add 3 slime blocks on this side and add observers here at the bottom. And then I just want to mention that, yeah, adding observers directly here on top to power the pistons is possible. So this flying machine would be able to fly, but if the flying machine stops, it would actually start shaking. So let's actually quickly show that. Let's launch this flying machine. Actually should also change direction, perfect. Flies, and here it's gonna stop and start shaking like this, which is not great. So I'm gonna try to remove the slime block if possible. Messed it up a little bit. Maybe it's better if we actually start in that corner again. Alright, I added everything back again. So in order to avoid those shaking issues, just power the piston with quasi connectivity, and that prevents the pistons below to get powered. Just some downwards facing observers here at the top. Alright, then we're already in the northeast corner, so that means here we need one of those stations that makes the machine change direction. We also need it on the opposite side in the southwest, and here's how you can do it. So here in the northeast corner, you just want to detect that incoming observer, and just put down another observer. Then you want to get some node blocks, or trapdoors would also work, doesn't need to be a node block actually. And we go around like this. Here now we want to add just a block that can be powered, and a normal piston in front, facing this way. Alright, then I would say we could launch this. We can do that by activating this sticky piston. In order to actually stop the flying machine on this end, you can put a lever on top of a node block, and this would stop it next time it comes around, because no signal goes through it because it's already powered. Okay, now this side, it's quite similar. We just need to build the same thing on top. So we have to search the piston that we want to activate, this one here, to go in that direction. You can also push the whole structure in that direction. Okay, I'm gonna do that again by adding a piston that does that, and detect the incoming observer. This node block loop around, and just a block again. And that's it. Okay. Now I'm gonna activate this sticky piston. Here it changes direction automatically, and now it should stop here in our station. We can then launch it by activating the lever again. Right, and now we would just go around in a loop until you would actually stop it again. Let's also quickly take a look at this flying machine and the stations. So basically the general idea, instead of using a piston to launch the flying machine that pushes a structure of it, we actually need to activate the pistons of the flying machine directly. So that's what we do here. This is just one of the custom solutions. You basically always have to make sure that nothing of the station attaches to it. So here I actually attached one extra observer on top of the flying machine, that if the flying machine arrives in this corner, it would activate this little chain and then triggers this observer, which would launch this piston. On this side I actually detect one of the incoming walls and trigger this observer from the bottom. Okay, let's quickly launch this. We can see what's going on. So here we actually detect the incoming wall and trigger that observer. So that's what you want to do if you attach the maximum amount of blocks. Alright, so this was the 4-way flying machine. Sometimes just takes me a bit longer to come around with projects. But yeah, this 4-way flying machine would also work in older Minecraft versions, so ever since observers got added basically. And of course it works in the latest snapshot. Don't think this will break soon. That actually reminds me, I could have used this design a couple of years ago when I made a nice sugarcane farm that I never released. Why did I not release it? Yeah, there might be a sugarcane farm video soon if I find the old world. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.